Hey guys, this is Coach Carly, and you're watching Bull Time. Well, we are finally back. I apologize, there's been a long hiatus. I think the last video I put out was March bull time for the powerlifters. So yeah, it's been a while. And I apologize, I've had a crazy couple of months, weeks, however you want to describe it. And it just hasn't lined up for me to really push for doing this. So here we are. So this is kind of a smaller take on the video, and I want to make sure that these athletes get highlighted just because they don't do what we're mostly known for, which is powerlifting. So we had two strongman competitors, Terry and Brent, that competed in March as well. By the time I made that video, I decided it was a good idea to also give them their own light and their own space. I really wanted to make sure that we got a chance to highlight them and it didn't get muddled with all of the powerlifting that we usually are highlighting throughout these Bull Time episodes. So we made this decision. I shouldn't say we. I made this decision that we were going to do this as a nice little video to montage their progress and what they've done, as well as each time that we have a weightlifter or a bodybuilder or powerlifter within that same month, they're gonna have their own separate video. So you'll start seeing them listed as Bull Time Powerlifting March edition, or now we're in May, almost June, so it's going to list it a little bit differently. So let's get started. First we had Terry. It's always interesting for me to kind of highlight strongman competitions or events, or because it's so subjective. This is probably, besides maybe bodybuilding, but mostly strongman, is really dependent on who shows up as a rate of progress. But there's ways that you can talk about progress, and for Terry, this was her second competition, and absolutely did great. Like, she zeroed no events. She did really well. Unfortunately, had a little minor strain injury, in her calf, which I think probably didn't make the day feel good. So I really want to highlight what we did more so in training and talk about a little bit of our journey. So Terry and I's journey started, now it's May, so we're in, I think, month 13 together, for 13 or 14. And, it's always been mostly revolved around strength training, a little bit of losing weight, a little bit more of an overall strength training aspect, not just a straight strongman linear progression aspect of getting stronger for these events. Obviously getting stronger for those events, but a lot of it is a little bit higher intensity, a little bit of short rest periods, a little bit of pushing in the strength events. So Terry's always responded really well to whatever we've thrown out there. Been extremely consistent too, so that's also really helpful in the kind of facet that we're in. Consistency is key. The type of training that Terry has been doing didn't necessarily revolve directly around strongman. We kind of prepped a little bit more directly for strongman, probably about 3-4 months out from the meet, just to make sure that she was ready. But she actually had a great day. Placed third, I believe, in her direct competition. So I can't complain. She was really happy, I was really happy, and I'm just super happy that she's a part of our team. As I talk about, segueing into talking about Brent, Terry, I also met through that ETID. If you guys remember when I talked about Brent the first time, I met Terry with Brent at that initial first deadlift party that they had for the ETID Christmas show. So we just recently started working together. Brent chose me a little bit earlier. So yeah, it was very funny. So next up we had Brent, and it wasn't necessarily the day Brent wanted. Really liked the style of training that we were doing as we went into competition. We had a disagreement about what direction that we were going in, honestly, with the events coming up and how it transferred, and and I think where he was mentally going into training wasn't just on the same page going into it with us, and that's okay. And we talked about it, and we had a discussion. Doesn't mean that he wasn't getting stronger. It wasn't mean that he didn't do a good job with it. He did a great job. Just wasn't necessarily on the same page, and that's human nature. Sometimes you feel as though you need something else, and and as much as you can explain and do all that, and sometimes you just don't see eye to eye, and that's plenty okay. As it relates to the meet, it wasn't necessarily his best showing. I know we talked about the meet before, or the competition before for him. He had the best meet and prep that he ever had, which I believe was in November. He had a great competition. He had a phenomenal competition. Just necessarily wasn't his day this time. So that is what it is. Life happens, things happen. As I said previously before talking about Terry, Strongman is so interesting. You could do so well training, and you could do so well in the meet, but still fall short of what the goal is, whether it's qualifying for nationals, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're just usually always dependent on who shows up, what event that you do, so on and so forth. So it is what it is. It's unfortunate that he didn't have as good of a meet, and hopefully the next time it's a way better event for him. So so that's highlighting our two strongmen that competed in March of 2022. So I apologize, this is coming out 2 months later. Just life has gotten busy, and I wanted to make sure that anytime that this happens for our weightlifters, bodybuilders, or strongman, I want to make sure that they get highlighted as well. So I hope you enjoyed this short little clip of highlighting our strongman and how they did in their competition and what their training was like. So with that, I will leave you, and we'll get ready to do something different. So talk to you soon.